Right? All praise to the Most High Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Kwam Yasharallah. Shabbat Shalom. We're gonna do a class. It is called the Spanish Conquest. So we're gonna go over, you know, 1492 and basically how the Spanish conquered the indigenous people of Americas. Right? It's gonna be real quick. So I want to start off with what I want to start off with is let's first start off with Enoch. Get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So the Israelites was given commandments. Right. They were told to keep a bunch of commandments by the Most High, and that if they break these commandments, the curses was going to come upon them. Right. So when we read, the history of the Israelites, we see a whole bunch of curses that was going on to them consistently, right? Consecutively also. They were constantly being cursed for breaking the command because they continue to break the commandments, right? So I want to go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, and I want to get 40 to 45.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he
So
carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
So this is about the 10 tribes going into the Assyrian captivity, right? This is the king of Assyria taking northern kingdom of Israel into captivity. Go ahead.
Verse 1.
Verse
Verse
40, yeah,
41.
41.
But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
Right. So mankind never dwelt in the Americas prior to, what I'm saying, prior to the indigenous people, the so-called indigenous people showing up, right? So the 10 tribes, they were going to take this go to a land where no man ever dwelt. If you look at Europe, Asia, Africa, all these lands was populated, right? It was all populated and inhabited, but the Americas wasn't, right? This place has been visited. It was visited, but it was never inhabited, right? Read on.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statues, which they have never kept in their own land.
Right. So they were going to keep their statues in this new land, being that they never kept it before in their old land. So traveling to this new land, they were wanted to keep the statues, the law, statutes, and commandments. They were basically a restart, starting fresh. Go ahead.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
Right.
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Right. So we did a video before in the past. As a matter of fact, in my Ephraim video, I showed certain scriptures that talks about this narrow passage and how basically how long it took, right? Because go ahead and keep on reading. I'll explain afterwards. Go ahead, read.
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Osiris.
Right. So so to go from basically from the Middle East, what they call the Middle East, to the Americas, it took a year and a half of traveling. And then this place called the Americas, it was called Arsareth. They referred to America as the Arsareth. And so now I'm gonna show some proof of that, right? So let me share my screen real quick, and I'm gonna share what's called the Jewish Encyclopedia, right? And so anybody could look this up. What you got to do is you could just Google Jewish Encyclopedia, and then it's gonna take you here, right? This is Jewish Encyclopedia, and then you put in Arzareth, right? So here is spelled different than the scriptures. In the scriptures is Arsareth, but here is Arzareth, right? They just put a Z instead of an S. So watch what it says. It says the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses unto the time of restoration, according to second Esdras. See that? It says Columbus identified America with this land. So when Columbus was sailing, he knew that Arsareth was what was being called the Americas. He knew that that's what it was. Shalom, Yasharala House of Learning. Columbus knew that this place was Arsareth, and now I'm gonna share something with y'all too. Let me stop sharing this, and then let me share again, because I did a video about this years ago, right? Literally years ago, right? So this is my channel. This is the video that I had did a long time ago, and so let's see if you guys can hear this.
Why do you wish to
Nope, I can't even hear it.
sail west?
You can hear it? All right. I'm gonna let it play. I can't hear it, but I'm gonna let it play.
To open a new route to Asia.
All right. Pay attention real quick. He says to find a new route to Asia.
Can you hear it?
Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold.
Asia is the richest kingdom, right? So he thought he was going to Asia. Pay attention to this, though. Remember this part right here, because this part is detrimental to what I'm gonna bring out later. Pay attention, and like I said, this is nothing new. This is everybody. A lot of people know about this already, but
All right. Here, let me fast forward it.
Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year.
Notice that? By sea, sailing around the African continent, the journey takes a year. So he wants to head to Asia, right? He's looking for a new route to Asia. So Asia is right here, correct? Okay, so he's talking about going through land, but that the Turks have closed it up, so he can't go through land. But that the only way is another way is by sailing around Africa, and then. But he said that just going around Africa takes a year. A year. Didn't I just bring it up that when they came out of Assyria and over here, according to second Esdras, the trip was a year and a half?
At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea. The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite. Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands. How can you be so certain? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras. Esdras is a Jew. So what's worse? 2 minutes.
See that?
Already you're a dead man. For telling the truth? Yes. We are burning people for less. The man you're about.
So in other words, Columbus he read second Esdras, and he knew that the 10 tribes of Israel was gonna be in a place called Arsareth, and he identified America with Arsareth, right? So that's something that's really, really, really important to know that this monster of a man knew where the 10 tribes of Israel were. You know what I'm saying? So this is history, right? And this is an old video I did. I did this video 8 years ago,
Jeez.
right? That's an oldie. But the information is valid. You know what I'm saying? It's still a valid thing. So it backs up Second Esdras as far as who's over here in the Americas, the indigenous people, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas. You know what I'm saying? The Taínos. These are all the 10 tribes of Israel. All right. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 15 again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses come upon thee and overtake thee.
So a bunch of curses was going to come upon the children of Israel and overtake them for breaking the commandments. Right. All right. Let's read some of these curses. Let's go over some of these curses, and I'm gonna show you some historical images, right, that match these curses and on our people. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 17.
Verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
So when it says "Cursed be thy basket and thy store," it's talking about our financial situations. We won't have the money that, as a nation, you know what I'm saying, that other nations have, and the power that other nations have. We'll be messed up in the game pretty much, right? Then if you look at us, the majority of us are, right? A lot of us are messed up in the game. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 19.
Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So when this is talking about, when it says, "Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out," this is talking about life and death. This is talking about when you come into life, you're going to be cursed. And when you die, you're going to die cursed. That's what this is talking about, right? Let's get the precept to prove that. Sirach 41 and 9. This is the precept.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 41, verse 9. And if you be born, you shall be born to a curse. And if you die, a curse shall be your portion.
You see that? So when you come into life, you're going to be cursed. And when you go out of, when you die, you be cursed. You're going to curse, you're going to die cursed. So that's what Deuteronomy 28:19 means. You can see that a lot of us we're born into horrible situations, Some of us worse than others, you know what I'm saying? Definitely. But that's judgment. That's Ecclesiastes 3, right? That's judgment that we deal with when we come back to this life. We could go over that too soon about judgment on earth, We could definitely go over that. But that's basically what that's saying. When you come in, you're gonna come in cursed, and when you die, you're gonna die cursed. Right? Meaning that these curses are gonna be upon us forever. And that's what the scriptures say, right? I think it's Deuteronomy 28, 46, I believe, that talks about these curses shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, right? Forever.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
You see, forever. So these curses are something that's going to be upon us when we come into this world and when we die. All right?
Gone.
And the precept is Sirach 41 and 9 for whoever needs it or wants it. Let's go to, so I'm gonna start, you know what? Let me share my screen because I got some, so I made these notes, right? And when I was making the notes, something just told me, yo, add these pictures to these notes, right? Add these images to these notes. And I thought it was cool. So the notes ain't nothing special, but I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show you some because when you read these scriptures, I actually want, you know what I'm saying? I want you to see visuals. You know what I'm saying? I want you to see visuals. So this is This is my notes, obviously, right? So let's get pardon me for my slack. Get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 22.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
So the right, with consumption and with a fever, extreme burning, right? This is what the Most High was gonna allow to happen to the indigenous people, right? So while was one thing that happened to the indigenous people was, look what it says. It says smallpox was introduced to the Americas by European colonists in the 1400s. So when they came over here, the conquistadors, the conquerors, right, the Spanish conquerors and all that, even the regular non-Spanish, but the the other European people, they came with smallpox, and they put that on our people. And look at the effects of the smallpox. Look what it says. It says humanity has always faced epidemics, but smallpox was one of the deadliest of all. Smallpox was finally completely eradicated in 1949 with vaccines. It was responsible for wiping out millions of Native Americans who had no immunity to this disease brought by European as early as the 1400s. Victims first developed high fever, right? High fever, that's burning up, right? Fever, chills, headache, vomiting, then a severe and disfiguring rash. So this is what they brought upon our people, right? Smallpox. This is the curse in Deuteronomy 28 and 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and with inflammation, right? Extreme burning. That's the curse. That's smallpox right there. That's exactly what it feels like to have smallpox, right? Now, it says Native Americans, but Native Americans wasn't the only ones that this happened to, right? If we come down here, it says how smallpox devastated the Aztecs and helped Spain conquer an American civilization 500 years ago. So even, and you can see here, like in the depiction, he got all the rash and all that on his body and face, right? So even the Aztecs, they suffered this. So this curse definitely was on the children of Israel that were here in Americas, right? In the Americas, what was known as Arcereth, right? Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 23.
Verse 23. And the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
So this is twofold. This is a twofold scripture. This goes for the having no rain, and then your crops being dry, so you won't have thing. But it also goes into the chains, right? The chains being strapped upon your neck, and the chains strapped on your feet. That's the brass on the above and below, right? And as you can see here, this is a picture of natives being chained up, going into captivity, right? Let's get 28 and 41.
Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
So the children, our children, were going to go into captivity. Look at this. If you look down here in the bottom, it says slave auction in the Brazils. So this lady is holding one of the babies and auctioning the baby off. See what I'm saying? So the indigenous people of the Americas, the 10 tribes of Israel, did receive these curses, and this was upon them. You see what I'm saying? So this shows who the people are. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move forward. Let's go to verse 36.
Verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee, and thy king which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
So for people who don't know, the indigenous tribes, especially like the Tainos, they had kings. Their kings was called caciques, right? And so a cacique is a king, is more like a king. He's the one that resides over the whole tribe, basically a king. And so in this image right here, what you have, this is actually a real life thing. I forgot who this man is. My bad. Hatui, I think. I'm not sure. But he was told to. Do you see the Catholic priest is holding the wooden cross to him? Because in this depiction, what's going on, and for y'all don't know, and I'm gonna bring it out too. But I just want y'all to see. This is a book right here. This is where this image is from too. It's called Bartholomew de las Casas, right? It's called Bartholomew de las Casas, A Short Destruction of the Indies. So in this book, he goes over what's going on here. I'll try to find it for you so that I could. I'm actually gonna show you it in PDF. But anyway, this what's going on here is this man right here. He's a cacique. He was a cacique, and they were telling him that he needs to convert to Catholicism and basically worship the white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And so he refused. But what he first said was, is there gonna be are there gonna be you guys in heaven? You know what I'm saying? And they were like, yeah. And he said, okay, so I'd rather just die. And so they burnt them. They burnt them alive. Maybe because that's what they were doing. If you was denying the Catholicism, they would kill you, right? So before we move too far ahead with this, I want to go and I want to show y'all something. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick, and I want to show y'all something how wicked these Spaniards are, bro. So what we have here is something called the encomienda. And so what the encomienda it was a Spanish colonial labor system, slavery, right? Where Spanish conquistadors were granted the right to demand labor and tribute from indigenous people in exchange for protection and conversion to Christianity. So in other words, we're going to put you in slavery and then we're going to convert you, right? And this was they actually signed this like some type of law where it was possible to do this, right? And look what it says though. It says in change for protection and conversion. So, hey, Enoch, get Psalms 55 and 21.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords.
You see that? So they acted like they were coming in peace, but yet war was in their heart. They came to destroy and just have everyone in slavery and kill, right? And we're gonna read a little bit of the destruction of the Indies so you can see how wicked these people were and how ruthless they were. So let's just read a little bit into this. It says, in theory, the Spanish crown granted individuals the right to demand labor and tribute from indigenous peoples in a specific territory. In theory, the encomenderos were obligated to protect and Christianize the indigenous people under their control. So remember, they came with smooth words, but swords were in there, right? War was in their heart. They didn't protect anybody. They were killing people. It goes, in practice, in reality, the encomienda system often devolved into a form of forced labor. A form of forced labor. That's crazy. A form. They literally freaking put everyone in slavery. Ain't no form. Near slavery, right? And near slavery, it was slavery, with indigenous people being subjected to harsh conditions and exploitation. See that? Look what it says when it says impact. I don't know if y'all can see that. It says impact. The encomienda system had a devastating impact on the indigenous populations, leading to widespread disease, starvation, and death. So encomienda didn't do anything but bring death and slavery to our people. See that? All right, cool. So now let me stop sharing that. So now what I want to do is um I want to go into some more information, right? I want to go let me see this. Matter of fact, you know what? Yeah. You know what? Let's just keep on real quick with what I was already showing y'all. Um let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 25.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them,
You
and
see
shalt
that?
be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So if you look at this picture, this image rather, right? You see they were chopping us off, chopping our body parts. Look at the guy in the background. He has no hands. See that? They were chopping off the hands. See them two brothers on the floor? They both got their hands. Look at the guy in the back. He's just wandering aimlessly with no hands. Even the one over here, the dark skinned brother, the light skin. And this also shows you that the indigenous people in the 1400s, in the 1400s, not 1600s, in the 1400s, they were different complexions of brown. See that? So, look at the homeboy's hands is just right there on the. See that joint, bro? Body parts just all around the floor. And that's what they were doing to our people, bro. Just slaughtering us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he getting ready to chop his foot off right there, right? You know? Vicious dude. Anyway, in the book, Bartholomew de las Casas, it actually they go into freaking they go into deep you know how you say it? Detail. They go into deep detail. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 26.
Verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beast of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
Verse 50.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So these people, they didn't care whether you was old, young, female, male. They didn't care. They were killing everybody. And so right here, what you see is a depiction of that. All right. Look at they got the lady hung with the baby. So they hung her and the baby. Wild. Look at what they doing. He has a baby, holding the baby by the feet and feeding it to a dog. Look at the dog. The dog is biting the head and all that. Look, another baby on his other hand feeding it to the dogs. You see that? Vicious ass Spaniards, bro. These niggas was wild, bro. And yet, Christianity would tell you that you have to love every. Look, if you remember or if you paid any mind, it said in the encomienda that their duty was to convert you to Catholicism. At the same time that they're converting you to Catholicism, they're feeding you to dogs and killing you. And they were converting you to Catholicism. And so now, with all that being said, you still want to be a Christian or a Catholic. That's crazy, bro. Like how you literally think that it's cool to follow Christianity or Catholicism when this is the origin of it. This is this is them calling themselves Christians and Catholics, and yet putting your ass in slavery and killing you and feeding your bodies to dogs, feeding your children to dogs. This is wild, bro. This is wild. Go back to Deuteronomy 20 and 29.
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noon days, as the blind gropeth in darkness,
And
and
thou
thou
shalt
shalt
grope at noonday. Read it again.
and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Right, because nobody came to save us out of slavery, right? Nobody came to do that. And right here, what you see here is indigenous people being sold on the auction block for slavery. See that? With the kids. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 32 because, yeah, go ahead, read that.
Verse
Deuteronomy
32.
28.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy land.
You see that? So your kids will be given away into slavery. And as you see, as I showed you here, the little girls being auctioned off, and in the other picture you saw the lady holding the baby, auctioning a baby off, bro, like raising that baby to be a slave. Shalom, Asaph. So yeah, right here too, you see the whole family going into slavery, right? So what I want to do now is I want to show you some of the work from Bartholomew de las Casas, right? Let's go show you some work. All right, let's show you some of this. Okay, cool. So this is page 14 of his book, right? So I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read a little bit of it, and then I want to go back into the scriptures. So it says I'm reading the highlighted part, right? So it says they grabbed. So yeah, this is page 14 from Bartholomew de las Casas. And just so y'all know, I got the literal book here, but I just want to share the PDF with y'all so y'all can see it. It says they grabbed. I'll put it in the link too. As a matter of fact, all right, let me just read it. It says they grabbed suckling infants by the feet and ripping them from their mother's breast, dashed them headlong against the rocks. Others, laughing and joking all the while, threw them over their shoulders into a river, shouting, "Wriggle, you little perisher." They slaughtered anyone and everyone in their path, on occasion running through a mother and her baby with a single thrust of their swords. They spared no one. So get Hosea 13:16, Enoch.
Now, these people was vicious.
Oh yeah.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 13, verse 16. Samaria shall become desolate, for she hath rebelled against her God, and they shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up.
You see that? Just like Hosea prophesied, it happened, right? The Spaniards did that to the indigenous people of the Americas. Namely those, Taínos. Namely Taínos. Because this is in Hispaniola. In Hispaniola, there was Taínos, right? So yeah, so they took the babies and they smashed them against rocks. This is exactly what Hosea prophesied about. This is exactly what's going on here. And look, just so y'all can see, here goes the image. So you see him, he's grabbing the baby by the feet, and he's about to slam it against this rock wall. Dudes are wild, bro. And this is the Spanish conquest. You see you can even see the people hanging, right? They were hanging people by 13s to this is crazy, bro. Supposedly, this hanging the people by the 13s was a reference to the 12 disciples and Jesus. But then you hanging innocent peoples. Yeah, I suggest that everybody go and download this PDF and read it. If not, you could buy the book on Amazon. This a lot of information, bro. A lot of information. Bartholomew de la Casas, a short account of the destruction of the Indies, right? So let's read some more. It said, wild dogs This is page 17. It says wild dogs who would savage a native to death as soon as look at him, tearing him to shreds and devouring his flesh as though he were a pig. These dogs wrought havoc among the natives and were responsible for much carnage. And that was the picture that I showed y'all. See, I showed y'all the picture of the dogs eating the babies and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dogs was vicious, bro. They were just as vicious as the people. It's crazy. So yeah, look at what. Remember, I showed you the guy being burnt, and the priest is holding the cross to him. Right? Look what it says. This is on the islands of Puerto Rico and Jamaica. Look what it says. In 1509, the Spanish, with the same purpose in mind as they had when they landed on Hispaniola, found their way to the two verdant islands of Puerto Rico and Jamaica, both of them lands flowing with milk and honey. See that? You see that? Flowing with milk and honey, just like the scriptures say of the promised land. Here, they are perpetrated the same outrages and committed the same crimes as before, devising yet further refinements of cruelty, murdering the native people, burning and roasting them alive, throwing them to wild dogs. But yet you want to call yourself a Christian and a Catholic? Man, you sick in the head. So look what it says, tormenting and plaguing them with toil down the mines and elsewhere. And so once again, killing off these poor innocents to such effect that they were the native population of the two islands was certainly over 600,000. Man, this is crazy. They were murdering our people. In Cuba, look at this. In Cuba, in 1511, the Spanish set foot on Cuba, the island which, as we have said, stretched for a distance as great as that which separates Valladolid from Rome, was home to a great many people. The Spanish set about treating them all in the manner we have already described, only even more cruelly. So every time they went to a different place, it got worse and worse and worse. It didn't get better. It just got worse and worse and worse. They were just ravishing our people. You know what I'm saying? Just destroying our people. So I brought out, I brought out the curses, how, all of this matches who we are according to the scriptures. That's why this is going to be a fast class. There was nothing too long to do about. One thing that we do know about the Spaniards, though, was they were very greedy people and they loved the gold. I did a video, man, I forgot the title of the video, but it was about this show. It was like a cartoon show that they did. It's called Love and Robots. And in that show, they actually show the Spaniards coming to Puerto Rico and ravishing it. You know what I'm saying? Ravishing it for their gold because they were greedy for the gold, right? Go to Proverbs 28 and 22 real quick. I want to... Yeah, this is definitely a true statement, brother. Definitely a true statement. You could feel the pain and definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Kind of piss you off.
Yeah, it gets you mad, bro. Like you wanna punch a Spaniard in the mouth when you see him. But get Proverbs 28 and 22.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 22. He that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him.
All right, so I want to read it in my version because I had a different version posted. So it says, I don't know what version this is, sorry, but it says, a man who is greedy for gain will not be satisfied, and one who is greedy for riches will never be satisfied. See that? So these people, they were never satisfied. They were coming and just freaking, just killing for gold and everything. So, as a matter of fact, there's an account in Bartolomé de las Casas, and I should have did a better job of putting this together. I had time to, but anyway, it says in Bartolomé de las Casas, it says that their love for gold was so crazy that the natives considered gold as the European man's god. That's how much they loved the gold It was like a god to them, right? So I'm gonna read something. As a matter of fact, I want to see. I don't know why. Man, I can't do it. All right, I'll just read it from the book. Um, this is Bartholomew de las Casas. Again, I'm reading from the book. This is page 72, and it's just a highlighted section that I have. It says, once it became known that slaves were to be had in exchange for goods, natives were sold to buy wine, oil, and vinegar, right? Um, Salt pork, items of clothing, a horse, or whatever else the butcher and his men imagined they might need. Go to Joel 3:3, Enoch, because this is exactly what was happening in the scriptures. Look, natives were sold to buy wine.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine,
You see
that they
that?
might drink.
See that? Prophecy. This is what happened to us. We were being sold for wine. Our little girls and little boys were being sold into slavery for wine, bro. For wine. That's crazy. This is page 73 from the same book, and it says the wretched Spaniards actively pursued the locals, both men and women alike, using wild dogs to track them and hunt them down. That's Deuteronomy 28 and 50. Get that real quick?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
See that? They would young or old, it didn't matter. Everybody was getting it. Let me read another page. Look at this, bro. This is page 88 in the book. And I'm gonna read a little bit, all right? It says, they sold off half the consignment there as slaves before sailing on to Hispaniola, where they sold the rest. So they were going through these islands, right? The Caribbean islands, just picking people up, bringing them to another island, selling them as slaves in that island, picking some up, bringing it to another island, selling. It was just a whole slave trade in the whole Caribbean islands and stuff. So it says they sold half of the consignment there as slaves before sailing on to Hispaniola, where they sold the rest. When I was on the island of Puerto Rico and had the opportunity to confront this particular commander with his wicked behavior and with having betrayed these people, his reply was, "Come off of it, sir. The orders I had from my superiors were quite specific. If I could not capture them in battle, I was to promise them peace in a way of tricking them into giving themselves up and then enslaving them." See that shit? Yo, go to Psalms 55 and verse 21. Yeah, they do that to us today. They trick us in certain ways like that and put us in, slavery and debt.
This
Which
is
is
the book of
slavery.
Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
You see that
His word.
he told you, yeah, he admitted that he was gonna trick you and then put you in slavery. So the words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Read verse 20.
Verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
You see that? So they act like they're gonna be in peace, but then stab you. Got you. See that? That's Esau, bro. That's Esau right there. All right, I'm gonna read. Let me read. So this what I just read is also Deuteronomy 28 and 68, because they were being put on ships and sold to slavery, sold into slavery. So that's Deuteronomy 28, 68 as well. Being put on ships and then brought to another island, and because you're not gonna walk over the water into island, you got put on a ship and brought to that island, right? And you going in on slavery. So that's Deuteronomy 28 and 68 as well. All right. On page 89, it says they were tricked into a false sense of security by the presence of the Dominicans. These are not the what is called Dominicans now. There was a Spaniard group called Dominicans, not the Dominicans that are on the island of Dominican Republic. Believing that the Spaniards would not do him any harm all the time the missionaries were there. His wife, and 17 others went on board, but no sooner than they had done so, that the ship set sail for Hispaniola, where the hostages were sold into slavery. See, put on ships, sold into slavery. That's Deuteronomy 28:68. So, yeah, this book is it's very informative. I implore everybody to get it. You could download the PDF too. You don't have to buy it. You can download the PDF. It's a good book, and it got a lot of information in it. So, like I said, it was going to be a short class. So with that, I'm going to conclude it. Just know that we are the people of the book. We have been going through a lot of curses, right? It's evident of who we are, right? The curses shows us quite clearly who we are. So with that, I'm gonna just say, do some research, keep searching stuff up. Remember, you're not a Catholic or a Christian, right? That was something that was forced on you. And if you do call yourself that, shame on you. You know what I'm saying? That's really a shame on you, because that was saying that your people were murdered by the same people who brung that. And you couldn't call yourself that? Shame on you. You know? Shame on you, bro. That's not something to brag about, you know? Your people were murdered and killed for that stuff, and it was forced upon them. Now you willingly today call yourself a Christian and a Catholic. You're sick in the head. All right? Because I want to know, where was John 3:16 when they were killing everybody? Where was that, right? When they were slaughtering babies and all that stuff, where was John 3:16? For God so loved the world, right? Where was that at? It's crazy, bro. So keep that in mind. Think about that. Share this video, like it. Go preach the truth, bro. Go let our people know who we are, right? Do whatever you can to share the truth, man. Wake our people up, right? So shalom, yeah. All praise to the Most High.